2025 is gonna be our year. I just know it, I feel it. We're going to make the most out of it, and because I have made my fair share of experiences throughout the 26 years of my life, striving to become more productive every single day, and yes, failing a lot of the time, I want to share some of my favorite tips and tricks on how to level up, become a boss babe, work on yourself, and ultimately be more productive. So let's go. So some of the first things that I like to do is scheduling and structuring out my day. And I have always loved to-do lists for this. This is pretty much widely known. I've talked about this so many times, I don't even remember how many times, but if you've been here for a while, you know. Writing everything down and making sure I can actually see and read what I have to get done, it just helps me out massively. I don't even know why. Like, maybe I just actually have to face my fears to get things done. I don't know. And you can write these things down on paper or on your notes app, depending if you want to be a little bit more old-timey. It really depends on your personal preferences. Like, some people just have to write down on paper. And then the next thing that I like to do, it's called time blocking, which is pretty widely known within the productivity community, so I'm pretty sure you've heard of it before. Time blocking is a very simple but yet effective technique which ultimately takes your to-do list and assigns time slots for every task, pretty much just scheduling out your day like a timetable at school. And yes, you pretty much do this for every single activity, even waking up, drinking coffee, brushing your teeth, taking a little restroom break. This has always helped me out so much because I need a little bit of a plan and pressure on me to actually function. You know, diamonds are made underneath pressure, and I consider myself the diamond of the season. This is probably one of the biggest game changers for my personal productivity. So once everything is set out, you can get down to the fun part, which is work. When it comes to work, anything that makes your life easier is going to make you more productive. That is the ultimate shortcut. And if you are working in a field where you're constantly attending meetings, or if you are still in school attending lectures, you will know that there are two things that are slowing you down: note-taking and memorizing whatever you did not get the chance of to write down. And this is where PLAUD NOTE comes into play. PLAUD NOTE is a small device which you can use to record meetings, phone calls, or even just yourself on your own, and then the PLAUD NOTE app will transform whatever you've just said into a transcript, a summary, and even a mind map. The device is very easy to attach to your phone via MagSafe, no matter if it's an iPhone like mine or an Android, and it is super lightweight, which makes it easy to carry around, and we're all carrying our phone around with us anyways. At the moment, I personally use it for brainstorming content plans or even very weary to-do lists because it really helps me to bring things into structure, which they usually lack when I brainstorm, and make them more feasible. And whenever I do have a meeting, I love using it as well. I really want to focus a little bit more on the wellness factor and the wellness content that I put out on my platforms before will make it even better. I want to incorporate a little bit of my lifestyle as a dentist, so day in the lives will be there. What I eat in a days and what I eat in a weeks. But besides that, I'm still kind of trying to brainstorm everything. So I'll have to edit the videos Fridays and Saturdays. So I'll be working from like 9 to 5 on Fridays, editing vlogs. They have to grab the audience's attention. Also taking into consideration how well the TikTok content is going to perform on different platforms in different languages. I'll just have to see, and I'll have to make it work. Let's see where we will end up at. Back when I was still doing job interviews, I would have loved to have PLAUD with me because I swear to God, I think I forgot like 50% of what my potential employers told me because I was so nervous. It was so much information and it wasn't in a particular order. Or when I was back in dental school just a year ago, this tool would have saved my life. You know how much time I could have saved with PLAUD, which I ultimately end up spending on note-taking? On top of that, PLAUD highlights questions that remain open in the transcript and that you should check back in on. Tell me about life-saving, because I feel like when you go through so many lectures, it is so easy to lose point of view. The process of using PLAUD NOTE is super easy, as I've mentioned a bunch of times now. You simply record whatever you want to record, whether it's a meeting, a phone call, or yourself, and then you let the PLAUD NOTE app transform whatever you've just said into a transcript, into a summary, and into a mind map, putting things into a different perspective and making your life easier. I have used the PLAUD NOTE app a couple of times now, and I really do love it. So this is a recommendation by heart, especially if you are a student or if you're working in a field where you encounter a lot of meetings. So if you want to check out PLAUD NOTE, which I'm pretty sure you do, you can do so via the link in the description down below. And don't forget about their January campaign featuring unlimited hours, which is especially great for students. Whenever you sign up, there is also a free plan with 300 free hours. Let's make our lives a little easier, shall we? Other things that help me out when it comes to work and that used to help me out a lot when I was still back in dental school suffering, and I had lots of studying to do, or more like studying, was putting my phone on Do Not Disturb whenever I had to sit down and focus, because apparently I'm addicted to my phone. Who would have thought? You can use your phone focus settings for this, or something that works even better for me is using an app like Forest to block any other app on my phone, because as I've mentioned before, I am addicted to my phone. As soon as I see the slightest bit of a notification, I'm off my focus, I'm on my phone. And Forest also doubles as a timer, which plays into another great productivity hack that I have mentioned before, the Pomodoro technique. And when it comes to the Pomodoro technique, I feel like I'm not really bringing any revolutionary thoughts into this, because this has been so popular for so many years, but I'm going to explain it once again. The Pomodoro technique makes you work in intervals. Originally, it used to be 25 minutes on and 5 minutes off as a break, but you can adapt this however you like. I personally like to change it up every single day depending on my focus capacity and depending on what I have to do. If there's a lot of time pressure on me and I feel like I can focus well enough, I sometimes personally even prefer working for 2 hours and then taking a 1 hour break. But especially if you're still a student and you want to use this technique for studying, you will find it very hard to stay focused for that long. When I was studying for my state exams, I was usually doing 1 hour on, half an hour off, and that worked out pretty well enough for me. I find like 25 minutes are a little bit short to stay within the zone of focus, and then I would personally just tend to overextend my breaks, because honestly, like, honest to God, who takes a 5-minute break? Do you know how quickly a 5-minute break ends? Long story short, the Pomodoro technique is flexible, so you can make sure to adapt it to everything according to your needs. And once you figure out how you're going to adapt those times, it's almost like a magic trick. You're gonna be so productive. Enough with the work and grind. Let's talk about some fun things like taking a walk, getting some fresh air and sunshine in, which is so important for your physical and mental health. And I know sometimes it's a little bit depressing if you, like me, live within the northwestern hemisphere and right now you're not having a lot of sunshine. Trust me, been there, done that. It's draining. But even then, I can't stress this out enough. You have to get out. If you want to be productive, you have to get out every once in a while. I personally do have a dog. Her name's Bailey, who needs regular walking anyways. But even if you don't have a pet that needs you to take it out for a walk, try incorporating some mild physical activities within your work days, and you're gonna see so much of a change. It's not a slight change, it's actually a big change. And even if you work at an office, maybe just take a quick walk during your lunch break and you're gonna feel so much more refreshed. In general, physical movements, aka exercise, is super important for boosting productivity. I find phases in my life where I do not work out, and trust me, they do happen, and they happen a lot. Those phases tend to be a lot less productive for me as well, like in general. Moving my body boosts my energy on the long run, and it boosts my health. Yes, even though sometimes I do not feel like going to the gym. I do not feel like getting into my workout clothes. I do not feel like moving my body, but you can't pour from an empty cup. A phrase often used for incorporating rest within your days, which is equally important. But if you don't fuel yourself up with things that energize and empower you, you will be running on reserves and ultimately empty batteries. Another thing that boosts your health and thus your productivity is a good and well-balanced diet. However this may look for you, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not going to tell you what you should be eating. I would personally just advise you leaving out too many processed foods and trying to follow a well-balanced, mostly homemade diet. Because for me personally, if I eat too many processed foods, if I'm eating too much junk food, I'm just tired and lazy. It does not make me productive. It does not make me feel good. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's your body. You just have to figure out what works for you. Cooking can be fun, even if you're not good at it. Just try to find recipes that you enjoy following. Find out which cuisines you like, and most importantly, try following recipes that actually fit within your schedule. Because I'm telling you, if you have limited time and you try out a 2-hour dinner recipe, you will most likely end up hating the preparation process because it will stress you out, and thus you will end up saying you hate cooking. I personally love browsing social media for quick and healthy recipes. I would recommend TikTok most and for all, but it's pretty much getting banned in like 2 days in the US. So I guess my general recommendation instead will be Pinterest. And then last but not least, take a rest. Get in enough sleep, practice self-care. All those things are important. As I've said before, you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to do things you enjoy to make you like your productive working times as well. If you are working 90% of the time, you're going to feel like you're a slave to your own work. Most people are not naturally born workaholics, so it does feel draining to basically only live to work. Spend time with your friends, even during finals time, even during the work week, with your family too. Follow your hobbies and never stop trying to find new ones. Does not mean that you have to join a new gym or join a new sports club every single day or every single week. It just means that if you feel like you want to try out something new, do it. Do an extensive skincare routine, a 20-minute oral hygiene routine. Do not feel like you cannot afford to invest time into yourself, because you can. You can totally take that 1 hour every single night and invest it into yourself. You just have to make time for that. Maybe sacrifice a little bit of doom scrolling on your phone. We've all been doing it. And just get down and invest some proper self-care time, because it's going to make the biggest difference. Life is so much more than just work and productivity. And yes, you can have a bit of everything. You just have to work a little for it.